First of all, my name is Rinka Jidara. I'm in ÖGMBT office, but I'm also volunteer of YLSA East and also scientist. But enough about me. I'm excited to introduce our first speaker of the day, Eleanor Peter. She did her bachelor in science, master in business. She acquired a lot of experience in quality assurance, and she is here today to tell us all about her position as a product manager. So here I welcome Eleanor to our virtual stage.
Hello, everybody. One moment, I'm going to share my screen. So I hope everybody sees my screen. I'm just here to give you a short introduction about myself and what my career path until now has been, how it's been. So I'm Eleanor Peter. I'm 25 years old, and like I told you, I'm gonna tell you now a little bit about myself. So I went to school in Krems and graduated there. It was a normal gymnasium, and I graduated in the year 2013. And I also knew I wanted to do something with science, so I graduated like main subjects like everybody else, but I also did like a focus on chemistry. That helped me a lot during my bachelor studies, for example. After school, I went on to do my bachelor degree on the University of Natural Resources and Life Science, the BOKU in Vienna, and I did my degree in environmental and bioresource management. That was in October 2013. I started my bachelor degree, and I finished the degree after 6 semesters in summer of 2016. During the end of my bachelor degree, I thought a little bit about what I wanted to do from my master's degree, and I decided I wanted to change my course a little bit. I wanted to go deeper into the science part. I wanted to do lab work, which was not included so much in my bachelor's degree. It was more like the theoretical science, but also a little bit of economic in there. So I wanted to be a little bit more deeper in the lab and in the science of it all, basically. So I looked for a master's degree I could do, and I found to study food product development and resource management on the University of Applied Sciences in Neustadt, campus Wieselburg. Online, I found it just online, the course, and I researched it a little bit, and then I went there and visited and talked to the students and to the professors, and so I decided to apply, and I was taken in. So in 2016, I started my master's degree in food product development and resource management. I graduated there in 2018 in the fall, I think it was September. What I didn't mention is that the master's degree was part-time. That's in Austria, a lot of degrees on the FHs and the Fachhochschulen, the master's degree are part-time. So they are focused like Fridays and Saturdays, and sometimes like blocks during the week, but mostly only the weekends, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I decided to start working part-time, and I got a job at Waldland Naturstoffe GmbH as a trainee, and started working there in 2017 part-time. The company Waldland, it's a company that produces herbs, spices, grains, also oil seeds, pressed peat and oil for the food and feed industry, as well as medicinal plants for the pharmaceutical use. So I worked there in the quality control lab, and that work that I did there during my studies really deepened my interest in food safety and also food safety in combination also with the pharmaceutical industry. So that's why I decided to do my master's degree, my master thesis in that field, and I wanted to do it with the company. So I approached the Standard in Wien and was able to write my master thesis there with the company. And the title of my master thesis was the investigation of the effectiveness of methods to inhibit mold growth in food fillings. So that was my master thesis. So right with that, with the study and my job, my part-time job and my master thesis, I was really deep in the food safety and the quality control. And I was very lucky that the company I had already worked, like Waldland, I had already worked when I finished my degree, like 1.5 years there as a trainee. So they offered me a full-time position after I completed my master's degree. And in January 2019, I started working there full-time, again in the quality control lab, where I also already worked as a trainee. And there I was responsible for chemical, physical, microbiological analysis of the different herbs, spices, grains that Waldland produces. And my main focus there was HPLC. It's a very diverse but small lab. So there were a lot of different analyses, but my focus was mainly HPLC, but I got to see a lot of different things. So after working at Waldland full-time from 2019 on, I decided at the end of last year, beginning of this year, that I wanted to do something different, but still stay in the field of food and food safety, because really that's kind of where my heart stuck. So I started to look around what kind of possibilities I had outside of quality control. And that's when I found the position of a product manager at Roma Labs. And yes, I applied there and luckily I got taken. So since March this year, 2021, I work as a product manager at Roma Labs. And I'm just gonna tell you a little bit what I do now. So like before, I worked in quality control, a lot of lab work, I learned a lot of really important things and gained a lot of experience there that I can apply now in my new job. So as a product manager, it's my responsibility to support the development of the product strategies of Roma Labs. I also oversee product life cycles from the strategic planning to tactical activities and to global product launches. I conduct market analysis and monitor the competitors and trends to ensure a competitive market approach. I also try to ensure and conduct product trainings for the sales teams and also the distribution partners. And also one of my areas is to develop and implement like literature, content, tools, and trainings to successfully launch new products. And also with that, prepare product presentations or demonstrations and present products like somewhere like a conference or something. So being at Roma Labs as a product manager basically means being part of a cross-functional team with colleagues from a lot of different areas. Like we work together with sales, with marketing, with R&D, and with production. And I support all of the people, so we kind of have a successful product strategy in whole. So like I already said, I've only been at Roma Labs for 3.5 months now. So I'm not as experienced as some of my colleagues, but it's really fun working there, and I enjoy all the new possibilities and also challenges this job brings, and I'm really looking forward to learning more here. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleonora, for this nice overview, a really interesting career path. I just will urge everybody to write their questions and their curiosities in the chat. And I will stir up the discussion with one question. So you said you like all the new things, but also all the challenges. So can you share with us what would be the things that you like the most about your job as a product manager? And on the other side, what are your challenges?
What I enjoy most is basically, I would say, the learning of it all. I had a lot of learning to do. I'm product manager. I didn't say it in the type of mycotoxin and the field of mycotoxins. And I had a lot of learning to do there. So I really, really enjoy like testing the products I'm responsible for. Like I oversee the product life cycles, but I love to get in the lab and test it all out and see how it works in practical, because that's, in my opinion, how I can support like sales and the marketing and the production most, if I know what I'm doing, basically. And the challenge for me would have been maybe the interdisciplinary of all things. Like in quality control, I had my schedule, I had my, it was one field for me. But now with the product manager position, it's the thing I enjoy a lot, but it's also challenging to work with so many different departments to try to get them all on the same page, because everybody has their different interests. Everybody thinks different things are the most important, but like what's important is the wholeness of it all. So it's kind of, sometimes it's challenging to bring everybody on the same page.
Okay, thank you. We have a first question from the audience. Carlotta Gogel from FH Campus Wien is asking, can I also become a product manager as a biotechnologist, or do you, just a second, or can I also become a product manager as a biotechnologist, or do they prefer people with a business background?
You can definitely become a product manager with a biotechnologist background, because for example, in my study, I had a business background, but I didn't work in the field. So I didn't have a lot of business experience myself. I had theoretical experience from my studies, but I worked only in quality control, like in a really scientific aspect of the field before that. So actually, I think in the job description I listed, I applied for, like my job description, it stated that that they want someone with a master's degree in some kind of biotechnology, something, and that marketing experience or experience sales or business is a plus, but it's not mandatory. So yes, you can definitely become a product manager as a biotechnologist. Actually, I think it is preferred that you have experience in the scientific field, because then you understand the products more.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe I can add on here, Eleonora and Srinka, that actually Eleonora wouldn't have got the job if she only had a business background. It is the life science background that got her the job, besides the soft skills.
Thank you, Claudia. This was very important input. And I also, my next question would be to stir up, to warm up for the workshop on soft skills. What do you think? And probably Claudia will maybe add now or later on. Which soft skills do you think you need for a product management position?
That's a hard question. I hope Claudia can support.
Eleonora, I will just need you to come a bit closer to the microphone.
Okay. Sorry.
No, okay. No problem.
It's kind of a hard question, I think, because product manager, I don't think that one set of soft skills is like the correct one. I think it depends on the field and on your personality as well. But I mean, Claudia, of course, can add something then. But I think it's the most important thing is the basic is to be very you have to really like the communication. You have to talk to people. You have to go up to them and ask the question. You can't really be passive. You have to be proactive for the job. That's definitely one plus. So, but with the specific set of soft skills, I would say Claudia would have to help me with that. But what I experienced from myself and also from all my colleagues, that you really have to communicate a lot, and that you have to like the communication, to talk, and the questions. Don't be afraid to ask like a million questions.
Yeah, this is definitely a fact. So you need to be to have some outgoing personality. If you'd rather like to sit in room on your own and look into your computer, that would probably not then the right opportunity for you. And this was also how Eleanor convinced us in the interview, because she presented herself as a very extroverted, communicative and outgoing person.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But also, and this was another part, also very structured. And this is when you have to deal with so many stakeholders as a product manager, then you have to have a structured personality. You have to be very organized. Otherwise, you mess it up completely, right? You're losing track. And you also have to be, be able to deal with different mindsets and also with some probably conflicts when you get under pressure, because as a product manager, you'll be pressured by R&D, you can be pressured by sales, and you need to stay calm and deal with these challenges on a daily basis.
Yeah. These are like, I got the sense also when Eleanor said that she needs to manage different departments. And then I also thought, communication skills would be also very important, of course. And we have another question. Sorry.
Just want to add here, you have to be aware of the fact that like R&D, like the two departments, R&D and sales, they are never completely on the same page. You both have the different interests, and that's fine, but you have to kind of combine those things.
And as Claudia said, also different mindsets, I guess, between these two departments, and because of the nature of their work and education and everything. So we have another question from the audience. Danik Kode is asking, was German language a necessary requirement for your role as a product manager?
I would have to give that question to Claudia. I'm not sure. Claudia, can you ask that? Can you answer that?
For this role, German was not a requirement. We have roles where we need to have German, but actually our company language is English, because of our mother company DSM, and so fluent English is really necessary. And if you speak German, it's a plus, of course. Mm-hmm. If you would become a manager who deals with lab workers or production workers, then you would need German, because these employees don't understand English. And or they don't speak English, and it would be necessary for you that you understand them and that they understand you, also for safety reasons. So these are the only roles where we really hire people who also speak fluent German, because for safety reasons.
Mm-hmm. I think this was a valuable input for our audience, because our audience is usually international. So I think they would want to know if this is a requirement. And I would have another question regarding, so you had, Eleonora, you had a lot of experience with quality assurance, and then you went into product management position as of recently. Can you tell us what, you already touched upon that a bit, but can you tell us more, what are the biggest differences between these two positions, or what was,
I think like the communication.
Eleonora, we don't hear you.
Does it work now?
When you're obviously you will need to.
Okay, I'm staying really close
to the camera.
So the communication with so many different people from so many different departments would be a difference. I actually never had contact, or hardly ever had contact with sales or customers before in quality control. That was new for me. And also maybe the fact that there is not one right approach or right answer in quality control. You have your standard operation procedure, you work after that, and there's a result, and this result you maybe do like more analysis on one sample or something like that, and you have a right result at the end. But as a product manager, there's not really a right approach. There you have different approaches that leads like to different outcomes, but you have to evaluate yourself how you want to approach some issues. And you have to like prioritize different things, and you have to basically, like, of course with support from your colleagues, but you have to decide for yourself what's the best way to approach an issue or something similar. There's not one right way to approach something. It depends on the situation.
Thank you. I see our chat with questions is warming up. So we have Jose Manuel Cruz asking, I think this is for Claudia and for Eleonora, but okay. Is the background working in industry before graduate studies an asset?
Claudia, I would like to redirect that to you. I think you can answer that better.
So it helped Eleanor definitely that she had work experience in the quality field before. And yes, of course. So working in industry before, if you have the chance to get an internship in industry, then it's always helpful. I know that it's very hard with some studies some studies out there to do that actually, but it's very helpful. So I can only recommend to do that.
Okay, yes, thank you. And then Stella from YLSA South is asking, what about time spent in the lab? Is there a big difference? I think you're asking between the quality assurance and the product management.
Yes,
positions,
definitely. Yeah. Yes, definitely. I don't spend time in the lab that often. Usually just because I am not really into that standing operation procedures of the lab people at Roma Labs. I usually just work together with them or ask them if they do something together with me, if they show me something, if I can show them something. But I'm not a person that works in the lab routine. I'm not as product manager. You are not a lab person anymore. It's like you spend a little time in the lab, but it's not a lab job.
Yeah, that's I think very good to know for our audience. And then
this was also, excuse me, Srinka, this was also the reason why Eleanor applied, because she didn't want to be in a lab anymore.
Yeah, I mean, one needs to know what they want and what they don't want, and yeah, that's very good.
Yes, but for this role, you need some lab experience. So it also, that's another thing. It wouldn't have worked out if she had no experience in working in the lab.
Okay, yeah. That's important.
I think all my product manager colleagues started with lab jobs. Everyone started with lab jobs, and then they wanted to do something else, and then they ended in product management.
Nice. And I think we can wrap up with the last question. Andrea is asking, how did Claudia test your outgoing personality and communicative skills?
You're gonna have to ask Claudia. What I think what did she ask at the? She basically asked me to tell something about myself, or not just professional but also personal. She asked me what were my biggest challenges, what were my biggest possibilities, what are my hobbies, and how I like to work. I think she tested out if I'm an organized person with that. And yes, I think so. And she asked me what I think were my weaknesses and my strengths. What do my current colleagues like about working with me, and what maybe annoys them a little bit about me, something like that. Yes, maybe Claudia, you can add something to that.
Yeah, we have a two-step interview session, a two-step interview process. So we have a first interview, which is done by the hiring manager and myself, and then we have a second round with case study and more managers or peers to join. And Eleanor presented herself in the first session as outgoing and communicative, as in the second one, and then in the second one it also, you were even able to present this, or to give us a much stronger impression on all the soft skills we need for this job, or you need for this job. So it's always a matter of having twice the opportunity to meet the candidate. Outside Corona, of course, we do that personally. In Corona, we only had the chance to do that virtually. And so Eleanor and I talked about it yesterday, when she was like, oh, you hired me without having met me before, and I didn't see the facilities. So I just started my first day without being there even once. And this was, a very interesting situation. So very new for all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
For the second round, excuse me, I want to add, because in the second round where more people were, I had to do a case study, and I don't know, but I think what impressed people, because I put a lot of time in that case study. I think I worked because I was on vacation. It was like my second round was after the holidays, after the winter holidays, and I think I spent like 4 or 5 whole days, really whole work days preparing for that. So that's like, you really have to show them that you want it.
I have like one question here. I know what it is, but I think for our audience, can you explain what is case study?
That is like if you get a kind of theme or a problem or some kind of question, and you have to work it out, research and do a presentation.
Okay.
In the second round, yes.
Yeah, thank you. We would have also a question from Leila Fotoui. I'm sorry if I misread the name. Would you please explain a typical working day of a product manager?
I like to say there are not really typical days. Every day is a little bit different, but typically I would say like I come in the company, and first I like check my emails, because we are a very international company, so there are always emails coming in at night, because like when it's 8 o'clock in the morning in Austria, it's already 2 p.m. in Singapore or something like that, so you get emails around the clock. But so you always have emails in the morning, and then I always have my to-do list, because I'm a structured person, and then I start working after the to-do list. I talk with different people, so depending on what my to-do list contains, I go to the R&D team, I go to the analytical service team, I go to my product management colleagues, I ask them what I should do if I'm not sure what I should do. I also have a lot of meetings with my colleagues, and otherwise what I really like to do, and what is really important, is like to do competitor studies, like to go on all the websites of the competitors and see what they are doing, if there's anything new with them, and also to sometimes to write some material, like marketing, to help the marketing people write the marketing materials. And what else? Yes, do research on the competitors, or and sometimes even test products in the lab. Or if you have a product launch coming up, just go to the production department and check when they can start production. If there is an issue with QC, something like that, go to the QC department and talk that through. And of course, there's also what's like every day a little bit is questions from sales managers. Sales managers get questions from the customers, and if they are too technical for themselves to answer, they forward them to us, and then we help them.
Okay, thank you, Eleonora. Thank you actually for unraveling the product management job profile for us and enabling our audience to decide whether this kind of a position and job would be for them. And I think we have actually a very unique opportunity today with Claudia as the recruiter of Eleonora. So we have both sides of the story, let's call it like that, to hear. And so thank you, Eleonora. And I think it would be time maybe to introduce our next speaker, Claudia. She's a senior recruiting specialist at Erber Group. She has 20 years of experience in recruiting, and she will be talking about how important are and crucial soft skills. And I'm excited to hear what she will teach us today.
Thank you, Srinka. I will quickly share my screen. If it works. Okay, the only thing is, how would I get the presentation mode up? Because do you see the presentation, or do you see my the speakers on the right side too?
All good, Claudia.
All good, great, excellent. So welcome everybody, and it's great for me to have the chance to do this session with you and to talk about soft skills and why it will get you the right job. Why did I pick this topic? Because in my 23 years of recruiting, I was so many times confronted, especially from scientists, with the fact, oh, wow, I got a PhD, I got an MSc, what else do you need? This should be enough. And no, it's not. Why? Because there are many PhD people out there, there are many MScs out there, or BScs, and the soft skills will get you the job, not necessarily only the qualification. Of course, you need to be able on your technical skills, but it is, in the end, it's the soft skill that decides. A little bit about myself. Strinka already mentioned it. I have more than 20 years recruiting experience. Usually I come from public relations and communications, but at some point I decided to, switch into internal communications. And from there, this opened up the way to recruiting and talent acquisition. What are the topics to explore today? I want to talk about, of course, like mentioned, hard skills versus soft skills. Can I learn soft skills? And if so, why should I? And why you should know about your strengths and weaknesses, because this is really important, even if many don't think it is. And how you find out what soft skills are definitely required, or in fact required, if like in every job ad you read like team spirit and hands-on mentality and communicator and whatever. So let's move on to the first part. Difference between hard skills and soft skills. What you see here now is so-called Volt success profile, and we used it in recruiting for creating actually a job ad, not necessarily the job description, because this is available in a company, but you have to define the job ad. You have to decide on what is necessary for someone doing this job in the most proficient way. So you have hard skills on the left side, and you see the soft skills on the right side. The hard skills are knowledge and experience. This is everything you can learn in university, or this is you learn, you gain experience on your jobs. So what people know and what people have done. No problem with that. You can easily check it. You bring reports for that. This is, easy. But then it comes to soft skills. And what are soft skills? Soft skills are two parts. So one is your personality, and the other one are your competences. So personality means who you are, and competence is what you can do. And there's a big difference. And when you look at this, you find, and I have to admit, also when you Google soft skills, it will all be messed up constantly. So they would mess up personality with competences. And then it's hard to understand what's what and how would I deal with it. So when you take a look at the personality, you find curious, energetic, emotional quotient, being an introvert, extrovert, creative, reflected, whatever. You come to the competences, there you see being a team player, communicator, being flexible, being persuasive, dealing with criticism, learning ability, and so on. And what you do is actually your personality, this is what you are, and your competences, this is what you can become. Let's take, for example, let's take curious. So when you're a curious person, this is a great part of your personality. How would you use it as a competence? If you invested in your research projects, for example, if you invested in market analysis because you're a market manager, or if you invested to increase your learning ability, then curiosity helps you a lot. If you are only nosy about what your teammates do in their private life, then maybe your curiosity could damage your life at work, or also your personal life. I checked on Google, and actually Google tells me, or whatever, that those, oops, I'm sorry. too much handwork here. Told me that like the emotional quotient, creative persuasiveness, collaboration, and resilience are supposed to be the 5 most sought soft skills out there. I'm not really sure about that, honestly. I would disagree. So emotional quotient, yes. Creativity, yes. Persuasiveness, for me, it's always a little bit a negative touch. I'd rather say learning ability. I think learning ability is something really important because working today means to learn lifelong. It's not like you go to university and then you start working and then that's it. Because every single day asks you to develop yourself, to keep on learning, to move on, especially when you work in big corporations like Albert Group or DSM. So this is something one can talk about or discuss it if this really are the 5 top soft skills. Why you should know about your strengths and weaknesses. Those of you who have been to interviews with a recruiter might have come to the part where the recruiter asks you, and I don't know if many of us do. So tell me, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? And in the past, many candidates answered with, oh, my biggest weakness is I eat too much chocolate. Haha, it's not about this. It's not about, eating chocolate. Think about where are you, what are you good at? And where do you need to challenge yourself? Call it a weakness, yeah. But where do you need to challenge yourself? And where do you want to challenge yourself? This is also the next part. Why? Because each job requires different soft skills. And if you want to have a specific job, you would need to think first, is this the right job for me? Does the job offer me everything that drives me? And, oops, I'm sorry, too fast. And what working environment do I need to perform? Like I mentioned before, when you have a job like Eleanor, if you want to sit alone in your lab or in a room, then this is not the right job for you because you need to interact with many people. But if you want to sit in a lab, if you want to dig in deep with your research, then this is something that drives you, and then you don't want to become a product manager or a market manager. So this is why you should think about your strengths and your weaknesses, because they really help you to find the place where in the end where you will be happy. And I think this is most important for us to be happy in our job, to like to go to work. Can you learn soft skills? And if so, should you? Well, your personality, no. You cannot learn any soft skills. You cannot learn to become curious. You cannot learn to be energetic if you're not. You cannot learn even to be structured if you're not. Competences, yes. Criticism, you can learn to deal with criticism. Sales management, leadership management, you can learn this. This is you would need some parts of your personality. So if you decide to go to sales, it will help you to be a communicative and extroverted person. But the sales competence you can learn. And so this is also something you should think about, and you should not be shy about thinking about it, because there is no good and bad. It's just a matter of, does the job, whatever I want to become, does it really fit my personality? When you look at job ads out there, I think it's really hard to find out what soft skills really are required. You see, like I mentioned before, you see like team spirit, hands-on mentality, open-minded. Sometimes you have the feeling the recruiter or the whoever sets up the job ad puts in everything without even thinking if this is really necessary. And I admit it's really hard to find out what you should do, what soft skills are required, and if it fits you. So I brought you one of our job ads, and the reason why this is also way old-fashioned and way too long is because we will change into DSM GmbH by 1st of July, and we will also have a new career page, and then everything will be different. So I'd have to go to a lot of restructuring if I gave our job as a new design. So we're still using this one, but it's for, you know, in a modern world, it's even that is old-fashioned. But what you see here is like, we're looking for a scientist, food process engineering. So this is clear, right? So you should come from R&D and you should have a degree in food process engineering. But what else do we need? We need spirit of research for this role. We need curiosity and creativity as soft skills. And they are the most important qualities you should bring in for this role. And I would like to invite you, I hope you can read it on your screens. Take a bit of a time and read through this job ad, because this is what you should do. You should always read to the end. Take the time to check on the tasks there, which are, you know, what you are asked for. And then take the time to read on not only, oh, I just need an MSc and BSc in food process engineering, what else is asked for? And maybe I'd like to invite you, tell me what you think, what other soft skills would be really necessary to be successful in this role. I give you some minutes here. And I think, Srinka, we can then later on see that in the chat, or people can
Yes,
put their
yes,
ideas
they
in the
can,
chat.
yes, they can write after they read the ad, then they can write which soft skills they think would be necessary, and yeah, of course, in the chat, and then we will.
So if you have, I don't see the chat, Srinka. So I don't know.
I have an overview of the chat, so I will tell you when I see something coming up. Andrea says, here we have people writing. Andrea says, leadership skills to guide lab assistants. Then we have Carlotta, curiosity, team player, hands-on, eager to learn new thing, creativity, organized, communicative. Stella says, being communicative because of working closely with the R&D team. Sonia Hager, from Medical University, says curiosity, creativity, proactive, team player, independent. Leila Futoi says communication skills to share ideas.
Yes, perfectly right. And probably one or two things that you would also need is, like, when you cooperate closely with our global R&D teams, you need to be also able to deal with conflict, and you need to be able to deal with criticism, because when it comes to technical discussions between R&D, this is probably what all of you experienced at university. This can be really tough, and you need to fight for your ideas. You are working in a team that researches on new products and new methodologies, and you need to fight for it and to stand up for it and explain it to other people. What you also need to know, need to be, is like, you would need to be able to speak in, with public speaking. If you don't like to, if you get stage fright, then this is not a good job for you. And then of course, but this is, you see that with spirit of research, you need to be committed to what's the products and to the whole, this whole activity here, this research activity. But great, thank you very much, guys. So this is what I wanted to give to you is like, it's your path to make it. You decide where you wish to go. And take your time to give it a little bit of thinking when you apply next time, to make sure that you apply for jobs that fit your personality, that fit your competencies, or that offer you the chance to develop your competencies. And don't apply, right into the blue just because it only says scientist or product manager or biotechnology or pharmacy or whatever. This is not enough. Always take the time to read the job ad. This is my recommendation to you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Claudia, very much for clearing this in our mind, soft skills, hard skills, competences. Now I will open the Q&A session. I think everybody's excited for that, and you're welcome to ask any question in the chat. I will read it to Claudia. Claudia, you can see the chat now also?
I can also see it, yeah, but probably not all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I will read. I just, sometimes it's easier also that you read it yourself. And okay, we have Pradeepa Mohan from YLSA West is asking, while interviewing, what are negative traits you observe that prevents an applicant to be recruited? We will go one by one question because Pradeepa had 4 questions.
Mm-hmm. That prevents I see it. That prevents an applicant to be recruited. Well, like I said before, are there really negative traits? Well, sometimes. Usually, it's a matter of fact what job you apply for. I mean, a negative trait would be, for example, if you lock yourself off from everybody, right? If you are not willing to open up at least this is for our company, I have to say, if you don't open up to the recruiter and to the hiring manager, because all of us, we're really close teams, so all of us are on the first name basis, for example, from workers up to the board. And it's really important for us to get this team feeling, to know about each other, to know what bothers the other, and also to care for the other. And if you would kind of shut yourself off from the interview, this wouldn't be helpful. Otherwise, no, there are no negative traits. I mean, if Eleanor would have been not as communicative as she was, she probably wouldn't have got the job. And for example, we hired a wonderful colleague in R&D recently, and he is perfect for this role. But he likes to dig in deep. He likes to have his peace and quiet for dealing with his research projects. He doesn't want to go out and deal with many stakeholders, and this is fair enough. Yeah, exactly. So Pradeepa is still asking, do Romer Labs provide training to develop this kind of skills? We have training modules for specific competencies as far as the job requires them to do. Yes, we have a training program, a training and development program that is defined with your manager as soon as you start there, and which is also evaluated on a yearly basis or 6-month basis. Also, Pradeepa is asking, may she know the percentage of acceptance at Romer Labs for a job, let's say like product manager, lab-based research job, just to get an idea how competitive things are? Percentage, you mean how many, if I understand? If you get, for example, come in applications and how many people the ratio, how many people do you hire per? So for example, for the product manager, we're probably talking, I would need to go back to my recruiting system, but I think what I remember, we're talking probably 80 applications, and so one turned out to be the one. Okay, that's very important information. And then Carlotta is asking, do you still read motivation letters or only the CV? This is a good no. I read motivational letters. I like them. The only thing is that many people who are, come from university, especially PhD, they understand the motivational letter like I think I heard it from you, Srinka, or when you apply at university, then you need to come up with a lot of details about your thesis or about your technical background. And so most of the motivational letters are too long for an application in industry. So please stick to one side maximum, not longer. And what I'm curious to learn about you in a motivational letter is, why are you interested in the company? Why are you interested in the job? And what do you think is what you can bring in best and what you expect to learn? This is what I want to read in this letter. And of course, as a non-scientist, the master's thesis is very hard for me to understand.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, this, it's important. And then we have also a question from Roland Martsky from TU Wien. How do I best highlight my soft skills in my application in order to get invited to an interview in the first place?
When you look at the job ad, and this could also happen in the motivational letter, that you point out why your soft skills met one or two of the required tasks or of the requirements, and also connect it with a little bit of a story. So just to write, oh, I'm a big team player and I'm highly communicative might not be enough. Tell me why. Why do you think you're a team player? How did you prove that in your past life or in your past career? Or why do you like to communicate, and how do you like to communicate? What makes it big fun for you?
Yes, exactly. It's not enough just to say, well, you can say anything, but you need to have a proof.
Take the time to involve it somehow in the requirements. This is also a recommendation of mine. When you apply for a role, always focus on what is required. Try to make the recruiter understand why you're the right person for this role, because you meet the requirements asked for in the job ad.
Yeah. Then we have from Dvani Korde, could you recommend ways to improve competencies when coming from a lab background?
A way to improve competencies. I think this is also a part about knowing your strength and your challenges. And when you analyze yourself and you think, for example, most of you will have probably an internship or similar, and when you analyze yourself and you think back of, okay, where did I struggle? Why did I come into trouble with this or that, with like a situation or with people? And what would help me to get better, to be better next time, to get, be more sufficient next time? This is something where you can develop yourself. Thinking about probably, let's take the criticism, right? So none of us likes to be criticized, and it takes a lot to accept criticism. And sometimes you're lucky and you receive very structured criticism, but you also in industry, you will face situations where like a manager would just yell at you, like, you stupid idiot, how could you do that? We had that, right? And then you need to kind of step back. You need to get yourself down and move this person off, saying, please talk quietly to me. And then find out what's the critic all about and deal with it. And this is something that comes, with the situation and also with experience, with work experience, and developing the mindset for it.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people, for a lot of people, probably taking the criticism is always a challenge, but as you said, it comes with the experience.
And sales and leadership, of course, there are trainings available. You could either sign up for it yourself, or most companies offer them. We offer them too. So.
But as a scientist, if I can give my slight of input, I think scientists are also used to, they get also criticism for their work at the group meetings and so on. So I think there, yes, as a branch, we are already prepared a bit.
Something that I really figured in with recruiting scientists is that most of them, like 98%, have a very strong failure or very strong error culture. So they understand, if I make a mistake, I need to tell this. I need to point it out. I need to deal with it. I cannot hide it, because it can be dangerous, right? When you end up in chemical industry and you try to hide a mistake you made, and then you could put other people in danger. And this is something very specific that comes with recruiting scientists. I didn't have that with any other, probably machinery also, but yeah, no other, no other recruitings were like focusing so much on this and also bringing in some positive results.
Yeah. And okay, and then we have also another question from Evelyn Kogel-Gruber from IMC Krems. Is it a big problem if you are only a slightly outgoing person, but you have other soft skills for being a project manager?
For a project manager?
But, yeah, and she says, but you have other soft skills for being a project manager, potentially, right?
I mean, if you shouldn't be a total introvert. As a project manager, you should be, interested in communicating with people. And if you constantly have to fight that on a daily basis, then this is not the right job for you. If you're like, I'm a little bit shy in the beginning, but the more I do it, the better I get, and then the more I can get out of myself and can communicate better, then why not? Of course, but yeah. I wouldn't recommend it for a total introvert.
Yes. and Roland Martsky from TU Wien has a very interesting question. He said, if I applied for two quite different positions within the same company, let's say scientist and a project manager, would you consider this someone who doesn't know what she wants, or is this a sign of versatility of interest? So diverse interest and.
Let me read it, sorry. Would I consider this someone who doesn't know what she wants? Yes, probably. Yeah. And if you apply for two roles, I would probably look at your CV, and then if it looks very good for one or the other role, I would probably get in touch with you and tell you a little bit about both roles, and telling you why I would consider you rather for the one role than the other. Because sometimes it also could be that like there are parts that are interesting for you in one role and other parts that are interesting for you in the other role. And then you cannot decide. So it always depends also a little bit on your history before and also on your educational background. If I completely reject you, or most likely I would call you and talk to you about the opportunities in the company.
Okay, I think also from his side, I'm curious. So if somebody applies to two different positions in Erber Group, this application is obviously not discredited because you said you would contact the person. So it's not bad to apply to three different positions within the same company.
It's not bad. I just have to admit I have applications where people apply for 4 different roles, and also on different level. And if I, as a let's say as a MSc, if I apply for a lab technician role and I apply for a scientist, then something goes wrong, right? Then this looks rather desperate than well structured on and thought through on your application, because the lab technician usually doesn't require a university degree and the scientist does. And what is it, what you feel, what you're ready for it, and what you want to do. And I think it's always important. Don't shoot out applications just because you're desperate to want a job, or then it's better you do something completely different. Then go to Billa, whatever, work as a cashier, gain experience there on this other side, because it helps you developing other skills, then to apply for roles that don't fit your expertise and your educational background.
So one big lesson would be that we would need to be very self-aware to know which job fits us, right?
Yes, and of course you cannot always know upfront, because the job ads sometimes they're really short, or they just they're really short and they don't contain much information. And in this, if you apply on this, then ask directly in the motivational letter, or even call the recruiter if available, and ask them, hey, would I be a good fit for it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we have from Jose Manuel Cruz Rubio from University of Vienna a question about the CV. How creative, example, use of graphics, etc., can you get? Or is it best to have a very plain traditional CV? Okay, we are entering the CV spheres. It somehow always comes to CV.
Yeah, of course, but I have to admit it is also very important. And take a well decided mix between space and text. If you fill up a site with text, it is really exhausting for reading this. And I like to have, I like those CVs that have like one column on the left side where you see like the data, those skills, core experiences is listed, and then you have the in the middle part it shows your education, and then it shows your work experience with a little bit more than just not only the headline of the job or of the university degree or university you attend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would have one question. I mean, I think partly you answered it already before with Eleonora, and I don't know if you can give us this information, but for example, if you can give us examples of questions you ask when you test, if you want to check like soft skills, or is it, as you said for Eleonora, we're just having a talk and that's it, and that's enough.
I can tell
you don't have like specific questions.
I can tell you about the technique I'm using. I'm using the behavioral interview style. This means I ask for things you have done how you dealt with situations in the past, presuming that you will deal with it in the future too, that you will do the same in the future. This is one technique of interviewing, and for me, it brought the best results.
Okay, and
it's like, for example, when we're talking about criticism, tell me about a role or about a situation where you were criticized, and how did you deal with it? What did you learn from it? How did it end up?
Yes, yeah. Okay, that's a good example, yeah. And okay. I would also have another question, I mean, I think I know already the answer, but like from your experience, what is the ratio of importance? I mean, maybe it's a bit tough question. What is the ratio of importance of hard skills and soft skills? But probably it depends also on the position.
Hard skills are definitely necessary. Like when we talked about Eleanor before, she wouldn't have gotten the job she only got the job because she got the job because she had a life science degree, and because she had specific work experience, and then the rest was soft skills. So it's not. Of course, you need the technical background to be able to fulfill a job.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see any more questions in the chat. I stimulate anyone if they want in the last moment. I don't know, Claudia, do you want to wrap up with something special? I would actually now I have it popped in my mind, which I was also curious. What are the things? So you have experience with life scientists applying to biotech job, and what are the things that frustrate you the most? when
frustrate me the most, like
with life scientists in interviews.
Oh, in interviews. Okay, so one in the recruiting phase is like 3 pages of very narrow written motivational letter. This frustrates me because I don't have the time to read it. What frustrates me, if I have a person in front of me who doesn't show me passion for what he or she is doing, and who doesn't show any interest in the company itself. If I have someone in front of me who obviously didn't take the time to read up on the company he or she is applying for, then I'm like, hey, what is it what you want? Because you are applying for next step in your life. This is something that is important in your life, and you should make sure that the company you're applying at is something you really want to, that the values of this company fits your personal values, and that the products or services also fit into your lifestyle. This is really, and if I have someone in front of me who's like, gives me the impression, well, it doesn't matter if it's like Roma Labs or XYZ or ABC company, I just want a job, then that frustrates me.
The message or takeout is read about the company, because you're going to probably be asked at the interview a bit to,
Yes, and to me it's also a sign of Hausverstand. Like I wouldn't want to work for a company
exactly,
that
of course,
didn't read up before. Yeah,
of course, you want a person who is motivated for the job, is interested how the company works, working atmosphere, culture, everything. What are the specific topics and areas of work of the company, and so on.
Yeah.
We have a question from Hannes Weingartman. He's a student of TU Graz. He said, I think that topic wasn't covered yet. What are the do's and don'ts about discussing salary?
Well, you don't raise the salary topic in the first interview, only if you're asked to. Why? Because in this stage, everyone presumes that it's all about the content of the job and not the side effects. I have to admit, I get a little bit puzzled when so in the interview, the candidates always then ask also, so what questions do you have for the hiring manager? And I get puzzled when then the candidate only asked about, okay, is there a parking lot? Is there a canteen? What are the working hours? Do you have to work overtime? Do you have to work on the weekend? This is like, hello, what about the content of the job? Because this is most important. And then we're talking about the environment.
Because and
of course the environment will be covered in the second session, and it needs to be covered because it is important. Like what we said in with the soft skills, if you don't want to sit in a in an open space office, for example, because you need your peace and quiet for being able to work, and then the company tells you, well, this is your future workspace, and we'll need to think about if you really want to do that.
Yes, exactly.
But you wouldn't raise it in the first.
Not in the first interview. Yeah. And, okay, but how does a person go about it? In a way, how, like, can the person ask, well, what is my salary going to be? I think that kind of sentence is also a bit rough.
If it's really crucial for you to know it upfront, and then that you don't want to waste your time. And I have to admit, I do this with senior roles. I sometimes even call the candidate, and from my side, and I'm like, listen, I have a budget here from to, and would this cover your interests? Does this fit? But if it's really crucial for you to know how much you're going to earn, then either call the recruiter or mention it in the first round with the reason why you need to know this. It could easily be that, like, for example, you need to relocate from one country to the other, and you need to know what would be the salary to even think about, does it make sense to relocate for me now?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I would like to wrap up at the moment. If Claudia, do you want to add anything to the whole soft skills? Maybe we did not touch upon certain things, or?
Very happy to share this topic with you today. Really, yeah, I liked it a lot. And please, if anybody has one or the other question comes up to the mind, and only later, just email Srinka or I think Stella also, and they will let me know.
Yes, I mean,
I
want to
find me on LinkedIn and get in touch with me there directly.
Yes, exactly, and we can leave your LinkedIn contact in the chat. Also, I want to thank you, Claudia, for really giving us this opportunity to use your knowledge of over 20 years of recruiting, and we have the same wishes in the chat. The Abdel Rahman Yahya is saying, thanks a lot, Claudia. That's really inspiring talk, and we have a lot of thank you notes from everybody. So thank you, Claudia.